Mullinger's Weekly Ramble.
Hello, my friends. It is Wednesday, the 3rd of December, 2025, which of course means it is time for episode 75 of Mullinger's Weekly Ramble. I am back in New Brunswick, and it is looking very New Brunswicky outside. Yes, we had a snowfall last night. In fact, it snowed so much, even the snowplows have called in sick. We got a full winter reboot last night. The province very briefly disappeared. It is real snow. It's not AI snow. Take note, ANBL. Some of you will know what I'm referring to there. We will be covering that controversy and many others later. I'm back. I'm very happy to be back. Like ships that pass in the night, like a tag team of travel. As soon as I got back, within 24 hours, my wife was on a plane to London. She is safely in London. She managed to fly last night out of beautiful St. John Airport. She's now in London, currently walking around Blackheath, one of the most beautiful spots of London, in the village there. And I am here at home, keeping things together, manning the fort, however you want to put it. There's lots to talk about. There's lots to be done. The new issue of the magazine arrived here in the province, or rather early copies of it did arrive. So later in the week, the full batch will arrive. So I will be stuffing 10,000 plus magazines into envelopes. Fun times, wouldn't have it any other way. Every single one I stuff, I think of the person receiving it and the hope, in theory, the joy that they will get receiving it. I'm sure I've told this story before, probably every 3 months on this podcast. When I was 19 years old at Kingston University studying English literature and women's studies, one of my many temping jobs that I took on to pay for my time at university was stuffing copies of Land Rover magazine into envelopes in a warehouse in the middle of an industrial estate somewhere in Surrey. And I remember I used to say to Paul Lawson, or his nickname was Porno. There's a story there. Porno Paul. He was stuffing different types of magazines. No. I used to say to him, we need to work hard at university so we don't end up spending 12 hours a day shoving magazines into envelopes when we're older. And now here I am, 3 decades later. That is what I do. Anyway, wouldn't have it any other way. Happy as Larry. Had a wonderful time in BC. Lots of stories to share with you. Thanks for all the messages that you've sent me about the videos of me sharing the joys of Ganong chocolates with the beautiful people of British Columbia. There are many more to come. We had so much fun. There's so many stories to tell during shows, after shows. Those particular videos that you saw of me at the Vernon, British Columbia bulk barn were all filmed by my lovely baby brother Nick. We had an absolutely incredible day on Sunday. I had 5 shows in 4 days. We did back-to-back. Wednesday, Oliver, BC. Thursday, Lake Country, BC. Friday, Summerland, BC. 2 in Kamloops on Saturday. And then Rob Belston of Trainwreck Comedy very kindly drove me to my brother's house in Vernon. And we basically packed, as we always do, about 6 months of fun into one day. We essentially managed to have our entire Christmas Day basically together on Sunday, and my brother drove me to the airport. I love Kelowna Airport. It is and I sat at the white spot at 11 p.m. and had a couple of glasses of, having had like a completely dry week. Enjoyed a couple of glasses of, I think it's Grey Monk wine, which is the vineyard where my brother and his wife Jessie got married. And next time I'm going to see them all is in Market Harbour in England in July, August, when their daughter Morgan is getting married. Anyway, sorry, too many tangents already. Let's do the sponsor read to begin, which does tie into, anyway, so many stories, so much to cover. It's been lots of fun. And I'm excited to be home. I'm excited to be back home here in New Brunswick. Did I mention I don't have my winter tyres on yet? Did I already say this? Not even 5 minutes in. I'm already confused. I don't think so. I am that annoying person that is driving around the Greater St. John area at 30 kilometers an hour. Although, to be fair, if you live in the Kennebecasis Valley, everyone always drives at 30 kilometers an hour, unless they're turning right. It's funny that, isn't it? You notice this in the, I guess it's normal in any kind of retirement town. The people drive around about 30 kilometers an hour, and then when they're turning into a driveway, they start slowing down, and then they just come to a complete stop. This is without snow, by the way. Basically, the way I would put this is most people in the Kennebecasis Valley are driving like it's a snow day all the time. Good, coming to a full stop. And granted, I'm not saying that everyone should be driving as ridiculously and erratically as myself. As I've said many times, I'm not a good driver. My wife says I drive like I have sex. I pull out without checking who else is coming. Anyway, we will. I think my winter jars are being put on next week. So until then, being very, very cautious. Actually went out for dinner last night with my sons, my wife, took my wife to the airport, and then we went to a place, very popular spot, which, interestingly, we've been talking about going to for ages, which is the Atlantic Indian Bistro in Quispamsis. It is in between kind of like the Dollar Store and Supplement King and the Chimney Sweep shop, and you know what I'm talking about. I mean, basically, if you don't, if you're listening elsewhere in the world, hello, my friends in America, in England. It's snowing here, and there's an Indian restaurant that opened a couple of years ago, very popular spot. Now, I've been saying to the kids, I know how much they love butter chicken, so I've been saying to them, we should go there. Like when Mum goes away, have a fun, like lads, visit out. And so that was the plan for last night. And then weirdly, like 24 hours before, Ethan Ash in Cambridge, in England, sends me a video saying, oh, you should reach out to these guys. And it's a video I've seen millions of times. You might have all seen it. Because it's gone beyond viral. The butter chicken guy. Hilarious videos made in an Indian restaurant. And there's a gentleman called Butter Chicken Guy who is basically a comic genius. Now, I've obviously seen these videos before. I've heard these videos before. Full-blown viral, 20 million views viral. And I'm thinking, why is Ethan sending me this? I mean, I've seen this a million times. Turns out that this globally renowned video of Butter Chicken Guy was filmed here in Quispamsis at the Atlantic Indian Bistro. It's their chef and their owner and their manager in the videos. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I will message me. I'll send you the links. Anyway, just the most bizarre coincidence. And of course, hundreds of thousands of comments under these videos. People going, where is this? Where is this? It's our local Indian restaurant here. Anyway, maybe this is a revelation to me, maybe it isn't. Anyway, let's. The ad reads, they're supposed to be read at the very beginning, aren't they? And here we are, 8 minutes in. But here we go. This episode is proudly supported by one of Canada's great chocolate icons, loved across the country and around the world, Ganong Chocolatier. We Canadians are fiercely loyal when it comes to homegrown brands, and for very good reason. Ganong have been crafting world-class chocolate right here in New Brunswick since 1873. That is over 150 years of sweet perfection. Their new sea-salted caramels and peanut butter caramel clusters are genuinely next level. As you will see, incidentally, by the way, this is brackets now. This isn't the ad reads. This is me talking in between the ad reads, in brackets, open brackets, as you will see with the videos of me handing out bags of these sea-salted caramels at the Summerland BC tour date last week. Watch out for those. By the way, those of you who listen to the podcast who aren't on, who don't follow me on Instagram, go to follow me on Instagram. I'll tag it. It'll be tagged below at James Manager. You will see all of the videos of me handing out Ganong chocolates in bulk barn in Vernon at the weekend, and also many, many more videos to come, having lots of fun, not just eating the sea salted caramels and peanut butter caramel clusters, but also having a lot of fun giving them out and sharing them with friends, loved ones, audience members, and just everyone I meet. Anyway, I have been handing them out all over the country, and the reactions have been priceless. So do check those out. Smiles, joy, laughter. Let's be honest, orgasmic sounds when people are eating. I don't know about you. I can't not make the noises that I'm feeling. As you know, I can't hold anything in. I mean, I'm it's an ADHD thing. When I have a thought, it comes out. As you can tell, listening to this. On stage half the time, things come out of my mouth. The audience hears it before my brain even has a chance to process it. So when I eat delicious food, I can't help but make orgasmic sounds. It's very awkward actually when I'm at my in-laws' house. My mother-in-law loves that I love her cooking so much, and she is just like the most amazing chef and makes the most delicious food. But I can't help but sit at the table going, and everyone kind of looks a little bit awkward, just kind of knowing that those are probably, those actually aren't the same sounds I make when I'm doing other things, actually, because I prefer food to that activity you're thinking of. Anyway, we're going off the point. This is not a very professional ad read. And my point is this, that this episode is proudly supported by one of Canada's most beloved and internationally celebrated chocolate makers, Ganong Chocolatier. So if you want a treat that tastes incredible and supports an iconic Canadian company at the same time, do yourself a favor and pick up a bag of these Ganong delightful treats today. Now, they're available in so many stores across Canada. They will all be listed below, and I will be I will be listing them later. Just remember, Ganong, buying Canadian never tasted so good. Canadian owned and crafted since 1873. Okay, more of that later. For now, let's go through what I've been up to. So, busy week. I mentioned last week how my journey to Kelowna took a lot longer. I had to go via Vancouver and had a long wait there. Hats off to Air Canada. And again, I need to I need to do this because, I live by this. I live by the moral. I live by the moral, the mantra. I don't know. Sometimes you can't think of words on the spot. I live by the notion. I don't even know what the notion is. That the notion is in. I got the notion. Is that a song from Greece? I don't know. Anyone with a hint of professionalism would have restarted this by now, or cut some of this out. We ain't gonna do that. You're in my brain, and I'm in yours. The trip it took forever. It actually coming back seemed very easy, even though I was on the red eye on Sunday night. It did feel very easy after a few glasses of wine at the White Spot. Fell asleep on the plane from Kelowna to Toronto. Arrived Toronto pretty much straight away to St. John's. Slept on that and got home and cracked on with work. Actually, that night watched. It was basically me and Pam's only night together for the space of about 3 weeks. So we decorated the Christmas tree and sat down as a family and watched the Christmas movie that is on Prime or it's on Sky in the UK. Tinsel Town, starring Kiefer Sutherland and Danny Dyer, is absolutely hilarious. It's like my dream movie. It's Kiefer Sutherland plays an action star who accidentally gets cast. His agent actually is played by Catherine Ryan, the amazing Canadian comedian, who actually messaged me last week. It was a lovely message. She messaged me basically to say, thinking of you, because she was, I guess, shopping in Costco. Someone had sent her a message saying, meet me. Let me put up the message. It's very funny. Tinsel. So Catherine Ryan plays Kiefer Sutherland's agent in it, and he gets cast or gets tricked into performing in a pantomime. Everyone knows what a pantomime is in Canada today. It seems like they don't, in that they kind of have to explain what it is in the movie. I guess for American audiences, pantomime is very much a tradition of British Christmas time. Plays. I mean, it's absolutely hilarious. There's a great fight scene between Danny Dyer and Kiefer Sutherland. Amazing cast all around. Asim Chowdhury is absolutely hilarious in it. Yes, Catherine Ryan sent me a screenshot of a message exchange she had with someone. She wrote to this person, "Where you at?" And he replied, "I'm just towards the front back. I'm just towards the front back where the cereal kinda used to be area." And she replied to this person, James Willinger has a joke like that, and then she forwarded that to me. Anyway, she is obviously hilarious in Tinsel Town. I've gone off the point again. My point is this. in the airports last week, I've got a question. This is a question for all of you lovely listeners. What is with all the coughing? Is it just me? Is there more coughing than ever? Now I know during COVID we all became kind of like cough Nazis, but I'm traveling. I know that I've got I guess I'm not a germaphobe. I just try to not get sick because my job involves using this, and I need my voice to be. I need to have range. I need to have do re mi fa so. I need to have range, right? And I'm walking around. Vancouver Airport was the worst. Walking around Vancouver, people just coughing and spluttering. It's like you're in a walk-in cough auditions for a zombie movie. I mean, it's literally, it's just the sound. All I could hear was rolling suitcases and 1,000 people coughing like they owe money. It's like a makeshift battlefield hospital where no one admits that they're actually sick. And they even try to hide it. They're not coughing into envelopes or hands. They're just coughing into the ether. I've genuinely heard less coughing in an actual ICU. I don't know. Is it vaping? Because, I mean, no one sounds like every single person is like coughing like a broken lawnmower starting in February. I do feel like genuinely there's more coughing now than there was when you could actually smoke in airports. I mean, surely this is proof that vaping is worse for you than smoking. That people are coughing and spluttering and just, it feels like lungs are being hacked up. It's got to say, you're not there to catch a flight. You're there to catch something. And I'm trying to say I don't like it. And obviously, if you've got a cough, you need to cough. But it's just the way that people do it with just total disregard for people is just shocking. So anyway, that's my question for all of you: is what's with the coughing? There you go, Seinfeld. What's the deal with the coughing? Here's another question. Which this stemmed from a conversation I had with the lovely Tim and Paul on the We Buy Records podcast last week, and it was about the concept of selling out. Now, do you remember a time, and this tell me Canadians if this was just a British thing, but there was a time when being seen to be a sellout was considered such a bad thing, like career-endingly bad, and that having integrity was of some importance. Who remembers integrity? They'd be like one of those nostalgia comedians. Remember integrity? Basically, I mean, people doing ads used to be frowned upon. I mean, I mentioned last week I'm reading the Alan Davies autobiography, White Male Stand Up, which I'm about 30 minutes from the end of. And I mean 30 minutes because I'm listening to it on Audible. Alan Davies, one of Britain's most beloved comedians, Canadians, Americans listening, you may know him from QI, and you probably, I'm sure, got the TV show Jonathan Creek here. He was the star of that. He was a stand-up before that. His first autobiography is supposed to be great. His second autobiography revealed that he was tragically abused by his father, and this third one is about the things he learned. Well, how that has affected his life and career, essentially. And it is one of the most moving memoirs I have read in a very, very long time. It is also one of the most insightful memoirs on the nature of, I guess, trauma and the part that plays in comedy when if you work in comedy. It's also a fascinating insight into the comedy circuit, building new shows. He didn't do stand up for a year, came back. Anyway, all of this is to say that at the peak of his kind of success, popularity, he was offered to do some adverts for Abbey National, which is a bank that no longer exists. The ads obviously, I mean, ads obviously didn't do well. I'm not being rude to him, but the ads didn't save the brand. Abbey National is gone. It's just another bank. They weren't any worse than any other banks. He explains how much. I think he was offered £300 and something thousand a year. So £1 million basically made from Abbey National ads. When he signed with his agent, he specifically said, "I don't want to do ads." The agent obviously, lured him into it. I mean, who can turn down that kind of money, etc., etc. Interesting though that what he had to do ads for 3 or 4 years for is what Bill Hicks got paid to do one gig in Riyadh. Which more on that I won't go back to the old Riyadh Comedy Festival thing, but I will actually. But the point is that doing ads and kind of selling it used to be frowned upon him. One of the things I was talking with Tim on We Buy Records about is how the younger generation have none of that disdain for it, like because they've grown up with the kind of the Jake Pauls and influencers and people constantly. And I know that. I mean, I know I promote brands, but I promote brands that I believe in. I work with brands and companies that I morally back and that I would trust with my life. Now that so for example, I mentioned before, I would never ever work with a company that could harm people, whether that be gambling or nicotine or all the things that the government like to sell and profit from. But it's interesting. So my point is that Alan Davies in the 90s took this kind of £1 million, did his national ads. So what? Right? Unlike Bill Hicks, he wasn't preaching against Bill Hicks. The problem with the Bill Hicks thing was it was hypocrisy. Bill Hicks used to rail against people that would do things like this, and then he did it. So hypocrisy is the issue there. Alan Davies, to this day, is not only beating himself up for it, but he's talking about how his friends, other comedian friends, wouldn't speak to him. In some cases, still don't respect him. He is still torturing himself for the fact that he did this thing. I mean, they're just ads. It's one of the most honest memoirs ever. And I guess Bill Hicks used to talk about how that as soon as you take the advertising dollar, you've sold your soul. But that doesn't exist anymore. Now you've got brands, influencers, comedians, television hosts, sports people, literally selling anything. Doesn't matter how morally bankrupt the organization is or how many lives it destroys. It is considered an acceptable thing. If anything, children admire it. So what changed? That's my question for everyone. What changed where that it used to be that doing an ad was something that you kind of thought long and hard about, and in the case of Alan Davies, kind of 30 years later, and this thoroughly good guy, a morally decent human being, or that did once, to be fair, bite a hobo's ear. That story is in the book. Not the ideal behavior, but he seems to have more. This sums it up: that he seems to feel more guilty about doing ads for a bank than he does about biting a hobo's ear. So, what changed in society is my question. What else am I going to talk about? Oh my goodness! I was going to talk. Who else recently has been talking about organisations screwing you over? Recently, so my wife signed up for a few months ago. I don't know, Grammarly, which is that it's like it helps you fix your grammar, helps you fix sentences and things. Now she signed up for a year, and I believe it was $70, right? And then suddenly, out of the blue, $250 Canadian comes out of the bank, and she's like, "What the heck's this?" Turns out Grammarly upped their annual charge from $70 to $250. Now, how is that legal? Has anyone else been screwed over like this? Where it's bad. Obviously it's our own fault when we sign up for like a free trial. If you sign up for a free trial of Prime, or you do a skip the dishes order, and it says, "Would you like to unlock 3 months of free Sirius or 3 months of free Apple, whatever?" And then the 3 months is up, and you forget to cancel it, and then boom, you get a charge. But how is a company able to charge $70 and then suddenly up it to $250? Now, with our magazine, The Mailtime Edit, the way subscriptions work is you subscribe for a year, and then you get an email saying, you will be automatically renewed in a month. But if you want to cancel your subscription, shoot us a message, and we will happily just refund you or cancel it, and the subscription's done, right? So it's there for convenience. It's like you will be resubscribed as per the terms and conditions, but we're giving you plenty of warning to pull out, so to speak, if you would like, in advance. The way people reply to us, now bearing in mind we are not a corporation, now you shouldn't be rude to anyone because someone's receiving an email somewhere. A human being is reading it, but we are just two people, a man and a woman in a house in New Brunswick. You should see the emails we get, or crucially my wife gets, from people in your and my and our communities, otherwise decent people, seemingly decent people who write and essentially like, fuck you, don't you dare, charge my card, I'll come round there and burn your house at the... I mean, the rage is off the charts. And then, of course, we're like, look, what is it? That's that person from... That's that woman from church. Why is she writing to us like that? Or you Google it, and it's like, well, this person's the head of the... won't say what, but the something society in Lunenburg. Like, you can immediately see who it is. And they literally write, just because it's an info app, they act like they're writing to... And it's like, by all means, yeah, if you get, I mean, I can understand the rage if you get robbed by some huge tech company. But anyway, it's unbelievable, the absolute rage that we... So I can understand it. If you get charged $250 by Grammarly when you signed up a year ago for a $70 charge, I get it. But it's quite sad that I believe that the subscription... I remember it's the morning after the Rosselló. My wife has basically spent a year working on the Rosselló, took a month off work in order to work on it, raised $26,000 for charity, and then on the Monday morning has like 20 angry, aggressive, violent emails from people complaining because we wrote to them saying, if you want to cancel, just cancel. But otherwise, it'll be renewed for your convenience. Okay. Oh, I know. I should do what I've been up to, but before. So BC had the most fun, basically, arguably after 51 performances of the show. I'm doing 3 more, 2 at Long Bay, both sold out, 1 at Hampton Brewing Company, about 10 tickets left if anyone wants to come. That'll be 54 performances of this show. But I would say last week in BC was the most fun so far. Before I go any further, I just want to remind you that it is the season for cozy nights. And let's face it, this snowfall, one of the things I love so much about the snowfall is not just that it looks beautiful out, but also that the house feels warmer because of it. But it is the season for cozy nights, family gatherings, and eating a little bit too much chocolate, or maybe just the right amount. Ganong have launched their new sea salted caramels and peanut butter caramel clusters, and they are perfect for gifting, hosting, stocking stuffers, or sneaking behind the tree when no one's looking. Crafted in Canada since 1873, make Ganong part of your holiday season. And crucially, go onto my feed, you will see the bags of these. They are bags, they're shareable bags. Beautiful white bags. You can just rip the top open. It's just the right amount for a hockey game, for a movie. Sea salted caramels and peanut butter caramel clusters. Check them out. And again, in the bio, whether you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube, wherever you are, the full list of places that you can buy them across Canada is below. So after I spoke to you last week, Rob Balson and I drove to Oliver, BC, to the beautiful Venables Theatre, which again, I knew I wanted to play Oliver. I knew it was a town with a population of 5,000 people, which excites me greatly. And Rob was like, it's going to be a push. Like some of the biggest names in the country, comedian names in the country have played there and not filled that theatre. And we need to sell a lot of tickets to make our money back. 5,000 people, 400-seater, not an easy sell. Very beautiful place, by the way. It's near Osoyoos. Osoyoos, I think I'm getting that right. There's no soy in Osoyoos, is what they say. It's very close to the American border and about a 3-hour drive, I believe, from Washington. Now, what I wasn't expecting, knowing it was a high school theatre, I kind of was expecting like a rundown high school theatre. It is an architectural marvel. Google Venables, named after Frank Venables, who I believe, am I right in thinking was a Brit that moved here, a bit like Dennis Knibb? Am I making that up? It's possible. An architectural marvel. We had about 150 people in a 400-seater, but the audience was so loud and they sat in just the right place. They all sat at the front. It was so much fun that even though we lost hundreds and hundreds of dollars doing the show, at no point did Rob say, I told you so, even though he did tell me so. I was adamant I wanted to do it. It's pretty much the only it's the only show of the tour that didn't sell out. But I don't regret it for a second. And will we be back next year? Yes, we will, because this is all about building something. And I feel like the word of mouth from the show will be so good that next year we will be full. And even if we're not and we lose money again, I don't care, because it's not why you do it, is it? The audience were great. Massive hats off to the beautiful couple in the front row who drove 4 hours from New Westminster, BC for the show. told me in very kind words that they're my biggest fans. Again, I've clarified, I do not have fans. I'm a nobody. I have people who share the sense of humor as me, / friends I haven't met yet, / friends I share laughs with in rooms. Anyone that refers to anyone that comes to their shows as a fan is a jerk, in my opinion. Anyway, it was lovely to meet them. Had so many people in the audience that hung around after the show, and it was just a real joy. Anyway, well worth doing. We'll be back. But yeah, Google Venable Stages as well worth having a look. Next day, got into my usual road cycle of, obviously wake up at 5 a.m, bolt out of bed, do a few hours of mathematic work, writing, watching the footage from the previous night's show, analysing what went right, what went wrong, went to the gym, had sushi for lunch, then we drove to Lake Country, BC, the Creekside Theatre. It's my 3rd or 4th time there. That was the night that everyone, like my family was coming, my brother, my niece Lily, her boyfriend, my sister-in-law's brother Scott came, and actually, that many of you will know, the amazing, Jackie Thompson and Tim Thompson here in the KV. Well, their younger brother, Nick, and his German wife, who's Elsa, am I right in thinking that? Elsa, came to the show. They told me he was coming, so I jumped into the audience to meet him. It was one of those... It was a very fun show. It felt like a bit... I beat myself up about this. It took a while to get going. I felt like all 3 openers were absolutely off the charts phenomenal. Rob Belson ripped the roof off it, as always. Matt and Amanda. Oh, and interesting, it was my first time meeting Amanda, who was absolutely hilarious. And she said, we haven't met before, but she said a few years ago, I was driving across Canada, and in St. John, all of my camping equipment got stolen from my car, and someone posted on Facebook that there was someone traveling through and had their stuff stolen, and she said, you shared it, and I was like, well, yeah, I remember this, and I was devastated that someone had come to our beautiful city and then had been stolen from. I wanted to do my bit anyway, and then ironically, part of my show was all about all the things in Lake Country rants and raves. I was talking about reading out some of the Lake Country rants and raves on stage. Someone in the audience actually knew one of the people I was talking about. That became a thing. So the show started. I felt like it was hard work at the beginning. I was obviously doing something wrong. Maybe I was thrown. There was some stress pre-show. Anyway, I finally got it going after about 20 minutes. So again, everyone before me stormed it, but then I went up and kind of there was this dip. Like I don't know what I'd done wrong. I did something wrong. And then, but it took me about 20 minutes into my set to get it going as it should. And then I think I probably went a bit too long. I did an hour and 20 minutes, which is too long. But fun show. Met tons of people after. Oh, this is fun. Okay, so after the show. So okay. Last year, as part of this BC run, we did a show at the Elks Lodge in Vernon. Vernon's where my brother lives. It was a super fun gig. And Elks Lodges, they're like legions. Absolutely. One of these kind of fun off the charts rowdy shows. Anyway, similar lineup, Rob, Joey, Matt, and then me. And during my set, a whole table had got up to leave. And on their way out, they had said, they basically, on their way out of the Elks Lodge, they were kind of rushing out the door. And Matt Baker had basically delivered a blistering set, ripped the roof off, and was kind of there by the door. He was running the door as well. Matt Baker, amazing talent, by the way. Alan Davies' his girlfriend, incidentally, also very funny. Matt is an amazing photographer, comedian. Also works with Rob at Trainwork, putting on these shows. Just all round great guy. He is by the door. This table gets up to leave during my set, and on the way out, he says, "Very disappointed." And so he tells us this, and we're all like kind of so confused. Like, my God, what was it? Like, it wasn't, because it wasn't as if Rob and Joey and Matt had been super clean and I was being super dirty or anything. It was like, what were they disappointed in? And if they hated the comedy, then surely they could see that this entire room was kind of shaking with laughter. Like, it was an off the charts barnstorming gig. And so that, I was, me, devastated. Like, does anyone know who it was? Can anyone find out? I want to reach out to them. If they really did hate what I was doing, I want to give them their money back. And then, of course, my brother, was more of the attitude of like, what the hell? Like, who comes to a comedy show and doesn't like that? And it wasn't like I say, I didn't think I was doing anything that offensive. Anyway, so we were talking about that, and then we talked about it a year ago, and then all year, obviously, I've been thinking about it, probably waking up at 4 a.m, anytime I'm ever feeling a little bit good about a show, about my life or my career, and then suddenly, of course, I wake up in the middle of the night and remember those people who left that show? They were very disappointed in you, James. You should be. This is how my voice in my head sounds, by the way. You should be very disappointed in yourself. So I spent a year worrying about this. Which tells you everything you need to know about me. And then when I got to BC, me and Rob were talking about it. We were laughing about it again on the way to some of the shows. At this very disappointed, these people that were very disappointed. Blah blah. Anyway, after the Kamloops show, I'm in the lobby at the Creekside Theatre. Amazing how many of these 3 of the 4 gigs we were in were all in high schools, but they're theatres that operate professionally as professional theatres, like they're proper professional theatres in high schools. I.e., unlike, for example, I don't know, like the Spats Theatre, which is a beautiful theatre at the Citadel High School in Halifax, they don't have posters up in the lobby for shows. These function as school theatres plus as venues, like with box office and all that stuff. Whereas if you go into the Spats, you kind of rent it as a shell and you have to do everything. Anyway, so the kind of show goes well. I immediately after the show, I'm in the lobby, to meet. My niece Morgan, her grandmother, her grandmother Dolores was there. Just tons of people I know. It was fun and wonderful atmosphere. And my brother has an amazing crestman, Chris Deal, who took us out on his boat. We were in Vernon last year. Great guy, party animal. Went to the Vernon Boat Club with him that made me. This Vernon Boat Club is like a British pub. They serve proper British pint glasses, proper, absolutely epic boat club. I would do anything for the Rosse Boat Yacht Club to be like this, even though I don't have a boat. I just want a proper British boozer. What's my point, James? Anyway, the point is this gorgeous family. I will post a picture of this on Instagram, but a gorgeous family comes up to me. Lovely people, big smiles. They stand in line for ages to wait, and then they finally come to me, and she says, "Oh my goodness," she says, "I'm so whatever." Said nice things about the show, and she goes, "I was, and we had to come. We were so happy to see you came back because we were so disappointed. Last year we were at your show in Vernon, and then these two," she gesticulated to their son and his girlfriend, or vice versa, daughter and boyfriend, whatever. They were flying to Paris the next day, and they were at our house, and they set the alarm off, and then the alarm was going off, and they couldn't turn it off, and we had to leave the show. We were so disappointed. And I said, "Did you by any chance, while you were leaving, say that you were very disappointed?" And she was like, "Well, yes, because we were just hearing those words." And I'm like, and she said, yes, indeed. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I said, do you realise for an entire year we have thought that you were leaving the show because you were very disappointed in the show, not that you were very disappointed to be leaving? And then anyway, we had this big laugh about it. I called my brother over. He's like, oh my God, I was slagging you guys off last year going, who the hell leaves the show? So they're very disappointed. All year long, we have 5 comedians have all been... beating themselves up about this group of people being very disappointed, and meanwhile they were just very disappointed to be leaving early, which to me, I mean, if that doesn't sum up all kind of misunderstandings slash petty grievances slash beefs slash I mean, all of the bullshit, because you see this, I mean, The Sopranos did this very well, how all of those kind of beefs that often, in the case in mob world, obviously often result in people getting murdered, these kind of petty grievances or misunderstandings. And it just goes to show how, like, I'm sure we've all had this in life where someone said to you, like Adam Newhouse told me, he's one of my best friends in the world, a godfather to his amazing son, and And he told me when he first met me, he hated me. Thought I was I won't tell you the exact word he used, but basically thought I was an extreme wanker. We met at a party at Laurie Fisher's house, which interestingly, Stephanie Godet, Laurie Fisher's best friend, came to see me in Summerland and brought me some of her amazing umami food. And if you eat gluten free, umami food is absolutely phenomenal. New Brunswick conceived, but based in Kelowna. Tangents. He met me, and of course, he's like, basically just thought I was some arrogant wanker from England. Made a judgment. Now that's different. I guess a snap judgment. But I maybe said something, did something. But you know, here's an example. You know, like someone gives you a look, and you go, "That person's given me a look. What a wanker." We often misunderstand looks. We often misunderstand things. Well, for example, here's the thing. I mean, because I'm a comedian, people assume I'm confident, but as you know, regular listeners to the ramble, I'm not a confident person. So often, I think people take my nervousness and shyness in a public setting to be arrogance or rudeness. So I think that was what happened in the case of Alan. But he meets me, and he's like, "This guy's a comedian," but then I'm quite quiet, so he's probably thinking, arrogant bastard. I think that's possibly how it comes across. And it's happened to me before where sometimes I've met someone and I think they hate me, and it turns out, no, they didn't hate me because of this. And it's interesting how life is full of these misunderstandings. And again, all year long, thinking that this very disappointed family were very disappointed in the show. And meanwhile, and it's just funny how just words and emails and misunderstandings, or the way we perceive things and wrongly perceive things, it was how wars start. No, okay. I'm gonna late country, and so no, that was a fun show. But like I said, I did too long because I was trying to make up for the fact that I had a slow start. Next day, woke up, watched Train Dreams, which is kind of a movie starring is it Jude Edgington or the other Edgington, based on a short story. One of these kind of Terrence Malick-style atmospheric films, which you need to be in the mood for those atmospheric films. You know, those films that kind of have a plot but kind of don't, and there's a lot of mood. I was somewhat in the mood. Oh my goodness. Okay, here's a question for you. So Friday, Pam had to go back to Fredericton because has anyone here had a problem with getting their passport picture taken? Now, do you remember the old days? You have the passport photo booths. You'd go and sit in the booth, you'd take the picture, bish, bash, bosh, done. But there's very strict rules with passports, so passport photos. So now you're going to have your passport photo done at a professional place that knows how to do it, and they know that they're the passport people, so they charge through the roof. I'm going to name names here. Staples. My wife went to Staples on Rossay Avenue. We had the passport pictures done. A couple of weeks ago, we drive to Fredericton to do the passport application for the kids. We're renewing, I should point out. This is new passports. We're renewing passports. Their old passport photos was basically them as babies. So now we get the pictures done, professionally done, pay the ridiculous amount of money, $50, $60, whatever it is, so they can be stamped on the back, ready, official, bosh. Drive to Fredericton. No, we don't like those photos. Their heads are tilted. Well, they're not. They're not tilted, but that's subjective. But okay, so their heads are tilted. Obviously, it's clearly them. Their old picture was them as a baby, but you think the head is tilted a bit. So fine, we'll drive all the way back and get it done again. So you go back to Staples, get the picture taken again. And we say, please, can you not fuck it up this time? Please, can you get it right? Like, you're the people. You're the professional. You say you do passport pictures. You're the ones charging, 10 times more than what it would actually is supposed to cost. You stamp the back, get it right. So they do it. Friday, Pam drives back to Fredericton. No, not approved. Oh, no, sorry. She went to St. John first, Service Canada, and they have said that yes, they definitely would be fine. That they are definitely fine. So she drives back, gets turned down again. So she goes and gets the pictures taken again, a third time, at a place recommended by the Fredericton office. Brings them back. They say they might not be fine, but they'll send them off anyway. I mean, can I just ask, surely there's a better system than this. Like, if it has to be, surely you should be. If you're taking passport pictures, can't you be like legally? Can't you be trained? Or can't there be some kind of, also, can't we just have a bit of common sense in life? Like, I get it if someone's got hair all over their face or they've got a cap on, but head tilted them, if you really can't see it's the same bloody person, can't you just get them to tilt their head back a bit? Can't there be a bit of common sense in life? Why are we trying to turn people into Michael Douglas in Falling Down? You know, it's like, life is so hard. Life is full of so much just crap and awfulness and evil, that why are there these things that are designed to just make people absolutely... And also, it's hard enough to make a living without taking 3 days off work to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Or equally, why can't people be good at their jobs? Why can't people not be? I mean, that's my little complaint. Please tell me if you've ever had the problems like this with these passport photos things. I mean, it goes back to the thing of life just seems to be simple enough. You sit in a chair. The fact that this is an example of, and I'll talk about the AI thing in a minute. But this is an example of when robots did a better job than human beings. Because when I used to get my passport pictures done, I never had them knocked back in the day. But now there's an actual person taking the picture who's supposed to be training it, supposed to know what they're doing, and screwing it up. The robot used to do better. So some of you might have seen this controversy yesterday. ANBL, a government-crowned corporation, a government organisation, have used AI to create their Christmas ad. It's not only do they use AI, it's bad. It's like awful AI. It looks like the kind of ad that, I don't know. Just, like a child. It looks like one of my kids' school projects. Obviously, traditionally, a New Brunswick-based film company would have been used to make this film, and indeed there was last year, and lots of New Brunswick filmmakers and creatives were paid money to create a beautiful ad, and now a terrible ad has been made using AI. There was an outpouring of anger about this on social media yesterday, which actually resulted, I believe, in the government pulling it down. It seems bizarre that anyone even signed off on this in the first place. It's a funny thing. Like, I know I've complained in the past about this whole thing about how, you have organizations that apply for government funding, get funding, for like a Support New Brunswick campaign, and then spend all that money on Mark Zuckerberg. And yet in film and TV kind of has it right in that when they give out grants, you have to use a certain number of New Brunswick talent. To my mind, and again, this is a very good friend of mine I was chatting with this morning, suggested this. If you're an arts organization in New Brunswick who applies for a marketing grant, you shouldn't be allowed to spend 100% of that money on a Trump funding organization based in California. There should be a remit that you have to spend even just 10% of that on a New Brunswick based publication. Anyway, it's absolutely mind-boggling to me. Basically, my biggest issue right now is the hypocrisy of people preaching support local and not doing it. So ANBL are removing American... Californian wines from the shelves, Californian vineyards, family generation organizations that are anti-Trump and making them suffer, but meanwhile using the American tech AI crap to create these awful ads. Anyway, so that was. You want to see more about that? And tell me what you think about that. That night, show in Summerland, BC, off the charts fun. It was the same night as the Festival of Lights, which is one of Summerland's biggest dates of the calendar, which I cannot believe so many people came out. We had like 300 people packed into this beautiful centre stage theatre. One of the greatest gigs of my year. It's probably in one of my top 30 ever. A friend of mine, I won't fully name him, he's a doctor in the town. He at one point during the show, very early on, was a doctor I met last year in Penticton. He actually, a British guy, lived in a rural Newfoundland for 10 years, serving rural communities that had never had doctors before. You might have seen, basically, if you've seen that movie, The Grand Seduction, starring Taylor Kitsch and Brendan Gleeson, came out in 2013, I believe. Essentially, it's his story. Now, early on in the show, someone jumps up and runs outside. I ran out to see what it is because I thought it'd be funny. Of course, it turns out it's his wife letting him back in because he went outside for a pee. He obviously couldn't find anywhere to go for a pee, so the poor guy had to sit the whole rest of the show. I didn't realize this at the time. I had to sit the whole rest of the show, dying for a wee. It turned into this huge moment. We are going to edit it and put it online. It was one of those gigs that I'm just like, wow, this is. After what I felt was a bit of a lull in Lake Country, but it was off the charts. When I was absolutely buzzing the whole drive back. They interestingly had a stressful situation in there where the seating map they'd been given didn't line up with the seats in there, so they had to navigate that, which, as many of you know, I've had that problem before. And just when I thought that nothing could top that gig as one of the best gigs of the year, Kamloops at the FE Arts Collective, the most gorgeous kind of black box, fringe-style theatre venue, which, I mean, everyone's played there. Like, going inside and seeing the list of people from, Tim Baker, who is it, to Joel Plaskett, Matt Anderson, every comedian you can possibly imagine. Gorgeous venue, absolutely off the charts. It was basically like a comedy club. And it's interesting when you're playing that kind of gig when the audience is just laughing so hard, it really forces you to cut off the dead wood in your set, like really you shave off the fat, like because you don't want the laughter to stop. You really are up there. I mean, I'm a waffler, obviously. James, we've been listening to you waffle absolute bullshit for 50 minutes. You don't need to tell us you're a waffler. I'm a waffler, but often I can kind of, in between gags, in between routines, often kind of just start rambling superfluous stuff, which may or may not, you'd be the judge, contribute to the overarching theme of the show, whatever. But in those kind of rooms, it's literally like New York style London or London comedy club vibe of just, you cannot let the laugh stop. And I filmed the whole, I'm going to be posting some clips from it. I might even post the entire thing, or maybe not, because it's probably going to be most of that material will now definitely be the special I tape on the 17th of April in Halifax. It was just off the charts fun. And as I mentioned, that night went to my brother's house. Sunday morning, got up, went for a beautiful walk with his dog Bella. Went to Bark Barn in Vernon to film those videos. We put up his Christmas lights outside. He sent me a beautiful text message later, actually, of how nice they looked, saying, like, every time he looks at the Christmas lights, I'll think of that day. It was basically me and my brother. We see each other, like, once or twice a year, and we packed everything to the day. We watched the Garfield Christmas special from the 90s. We watched the California Raisins Christmas special. We watched all the shows we used to watch as kids, just laughed like drains. Only Fools and Horses, Bottom, his wife Jess made the most delicious chicken teriyaki. My niece Lily and her boyfriend Logan made the most delicious pancake breakfast. The bacon was literally like melting in the mouth. Best bacon I've ever had. Turns out they fry it in, unsurprising, it tastes good, syrup and brown sugar. Oh my God, so good. Worth every calorie. Flew back that night, back yesterday, back Monday. And then yesterday, like I say, actually, I did make it to the YMCA. Need to undo some of the fun I've been having, but now while Pam is away, I've got a couple of corporate gigs. I'm in Mirror this Saturday night. I've got the school carol service Friday. Anyway, I'm gonna have like a another 10-day dry period, and possibly quite a bit of necessary fasting. Anyway, I have a wonderful meeting coming up in 10 minutes, so I will quickly whiz through everything else. I want to talk about the Martin Scorsese documentary, Mr. Scorsese, on Apple Plus. One of the best shows I have ever seen. Many of you may know, After Hours is one of my. Well, what's so interesting is that there's things I didn't know about him. Like, I didn't know that his wife has Parkinson's. Seeing him, the way he is with her is just so amazing. Like, I mean, remember, and it's really weird looking back at his career, because his career and the films coming out are all. Like, because I didn't realize that. Well, I knew I was a fan of his because, I mean, again, I was 8 when I became obsessed with After Hours. So when every film comes out, it's like a different stage in my life. I remember I still have the VHS tape of recording Mean Streets for the first time. So I remember every film coming out. I did a film, actually, I was in a Danny Dyer film called Assassin, that Barbara Defina, who was one of Scorsese's wives, and she was the producer on Goodfellas and Casino, she was the executive producer on that film. Although I think it was one of those executive producer credits that, again, I'm not casting aspersions here, but I don't think she did. I think it was possibly one of those situations where, maybe she just gets paid to be an executive producer, so they get to put on the poster from the producer of Casino. But how many artists have been at the top of their games, or as this long, but also basically been there for your entire life? I mean, and the fact that his career is so disparate, like how the career trajectory, his obsession and love of telling stories. Did you know this? The reason Scorsese loves music so much is because he had asthma as a child, and the only place that I believe that was air conditioned or something, or that had proper air ventilation, was a cinema. So he had to go into cinema. So the only place he could breathe was in a cinema. I mean, how amazing is that? And he used to draw and create not mood boards, but like frames of movies and all these kind of tracking shots and those amazing things that he's so known for. He was creating them as a child. One of his friends, when talking about the way that he is with his wife and her Parkinson's, his friend said that he doesn't act like the disease is hard. He kind of takes it in his stride. And if he hadn't gone through all of what he went through back in the day, he wouldn't be able to be present in the way that he is now and so fully. And he learned that as an artist that he can be selfish about his art, but he doesn't have to be selfish in his life. And I mean, and again, it's weird. I mean, again, I say I'm a Scorsese fan. I am in the respect that, like, I would try and go and see his movies at the cinemas. Although, weirdly, if you can believe this, even though I was at GQ when Gangs of New York came out, and I actually did an interview with Dante Ferretti, the set designer for that film, and was in contact with Brigitte Lacombe for a big feature we were doing. And I actually haven't ever seen Gangs of New York. Insane. I was working all these features. And all these amazing on-set photographs with Sutherland. I haven't seen There Will Be Blood either, but that isn't Scorsese, is it? No, that's again. Well, I claim to love P.T. Anderson. Maybe I just hate Daniel Day-Lewis. I don't know, but anyway, the show is so good. It's the first show in years that you can honestly say is too short. It's 5 episodes, 5 hours long. Marty is full of insights, such as by the time one thing he says, which I really related to, he's like, by the time you really understand your faith, you'll be dead. As they're going through the films, I kind of forgot. I'm kind of going, oh yeah, but this was the last gangster one, and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot about The Irishman, which is crazy, even though I watched it on the day it came out, and I've watched it twice since. It's really sweet seeing Robert De Niro being really happy and amazed what happened to them. He kind of refers to them as being like just 2 kids who knew each other downtown, and then he does this kind of pause, and he does that whole De Niro thing, and he's like, and then this whole thing happened. It sounded so mobster-like. The use of music in the films, Jagger being in it. Him describing things he saw as a child, seeing 2 drunks, one holding the other one's head while they vomited. He's clearly quite a sensitive man. Leo DiCaprio saying how he would do the films for free. He says a line about how cinema consumed Marty at such a young age and it never left him. And they filmed Marty's entire career in 5 hours. I mean, it feels incredibly rushed, but clearly a decision was made that in an age of everything being stretched out, and I mean, as we know, every single Netflix series, it's almost like someone's gone in for the pitch and they've gone, we've got a pitch for a 1-hour movie. Can you stretch it over 30 hours and 3 seasons of absolute boring drudgery bullshit and just have multiple scenes of multiple dislikable, poorly written, thinly veiled, awfully sketched characters standing on a balcony looking out at a view over and over and over again, saying things, the same things over and over again, boring the shitting pants off us. And it's the reason why no one's on the streets and no one's outside walking, because everyone's just watching these shows waiting to see what happens at the end. Then nothing happens at the end because they want to drag you in to watch you another 10 hours of boring shit over and over. It's the opposite of that. It does drive me mad how bad and long and drawn out and crap every show is, which is why the beast in me is so pleasing. And anyway, any series about anyone that is longer than 5 hours can frankly F off, because if in Scorsese's entire career it can be done in 5 hours, and I mean, I love him now more than I ever did. He's one of the constants in my life. It's made me realize his love of just making things because you want to make them made me realize I need to stop hanging around and waiting for an opportunity to make another short film. I need to get my son. My son's written the script for The Peninsula, so I need to do it. But it's weird. Like, I remember owning Who's That Knocking on My Door, Scorsese's 1967 film, on video. I remember having Mean Streets on, as I say, on a taped VHS. Basically, I guess I became aware of him. Like, he did The King of Comedy, which was a huge flop. He'd done Raging Bull, massive. So it was like, and it's all just different genres, like gangster-ish movie, Mean Streets. Then Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, melodrama kind of thing. Then Taxi Driver. And then he comes up with a musical, New York. Then De Niro talks him into doing Raging Bull, massive success, considered the best movie of the 80s. Then he has The King of Comedy, which is a huge flop. Then he's desperate to make Last Temptation of Christ. But then 3 years later makes After Hours, then does a sequel to The Hustler with The Color of Money. And it's a huge commercial success. So he finally gets to make Last Temptation of Christ. And then everyone says that it's so interesting to think that people said it was blasphemous, when it's actually a very, very religious film. And he makes it, and there's that huge, people are, look, I remember this, I'm 10 years old, I remember all these movie shows and all these things I'm watching, people are trying to ban, and it's like, trying to have him, the movie banned because it's sacrilegious, which again, it seems so weird that there was a time. Then he does Goodfellas, which in my opinion is the greatest movie of all time. Then Cape Fear, which he doesn't love. Then he does Age of Innocence, a complete flip. And then Casino, another gangster movie. Why would you make another gangster movie 5 years after the other one? Because De Niro wanted to. And then Kundun, complete Bringing Out the Dead, Gangs of New York, Aviator, Departed. He finally wins an Oscar, and I don't think it's a very good film. And then he makes Shutter Island, which is kind of a weird pulpy thing. Then he makes a kids movie. Then he makes Wolf of Wall Street. I mean, it's just Killers of the Flower Moon. I saw that at the cinema. That was obviously after The Irishman. 4 years after The Irishman. Silence, I don't think I've seen. I had the pleasure of watching Killers of the Flower Moon actually with my dad when he was visiting here. He had COVID, which we didn't know at the time, but he was very sick. Okay. Time is up. So all I want to say is everything. Thanks to everyone that came out to all the shows last week. Thanks to literally could not have had more fun in BC. Frantically now trying to come up with new material for next year. Any thoughts, ideas, suggestions for things I could do? These last 3 shows I'm doing this year, both locally in Rothesay and Hampton, I'm making sure that they are not only will it be the material from this year's show, but they will also be material for next year that I'm going to be testing out. So shoot over anything you would like me to do a joke about. I will do. We are frantically trying to rewatch all of Stranger Things before watching Stranger Things season 5. Mixed reviews so far, but basically I've heard it's great. I think it's broken some records. It's the most watched English speaking show ever. Obviously, Squid Game is first. The Guardian, I will say a big screw you to the Guardian TV review. The headline says, "This luxurious final run will have you standing on a chair yelling with joy." I get it. It's good. I haven't seen it, but if I get it, if it's good. But why? What kind of dickish, shitty AI style writing is that? That you won't be standing on a chair yelling with joy. You might be yelping in the couch with you. Who is standing on a chair watching Stranger Things yelping? I mean, what a stupid thing to say. This is why it doesn't do newspapers good when people have ridiculous. Just tell the truth. Otherwise, you're playing into the hands of Trumpy Wumpy. Okay. Oh, I thought I was going to make the whole podcast without mentioning him. Darn it. Anyway, thank you all for listening. Thank you for your kindness. Just a reminder that this episode is brought to you by Ganong, who have just released 2 new chocolates that I am clearly very excited about, especially if you see me walking the streets handing them out. Sea salted caramels and peanut butter caramel clusters taste like Canadian pride wrapped in chocolate. If you listen to this show, you know how much I care about supporting local. Ganong have been doing it right since 1873. So try these new goodies and let me know which one destroys your willpower first. Grab these new bags and be the hero of your next party, hockey game, watch party, or indeed comedy gig. And yes, I will be handing out chocolates at my final 3 public tour dates of the year. God bless you, my friends. I love you very much, and I will see you all next week. This has been Manager's Weekly Ramble, and you've been very, very kind to sit with me on this journey. Love you.
Manager's Weekly Ramble.